There it is. Look at that. Look at that. Fermented. That's the face right there.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Quizine TV, where of course we quiz the cuisine. Our food tour of Egypt continues. Last time we put on display the sheer beauty of Luxor, enjoyed some simple yet delicious breakfast, and drank some ancient herbal drinks believed to possess various health benefits. This time we head further south of the River Nile to the amazing Aswan city, once known as Swenet. This place acted as the frontier town of ancient Egypt. It is now the last major city in the country before meeting Sudan. To begin our culinary investigation in this part of Egypt, we're welcomed into the colourful Nubian village and met with one-of-a-kind Nubian hospitality.
So we've just arrived to the Nubian village. We've received a really nice warm welcome. They've given us some food, a selection of different foods, some exclusively Nubian dishes, some very kind of traditional Egyptian dishes, but we're going to tuck in and see how we go. Look, he's brought out a massive bowl of rice, and actually he's serving it in a terracotta bowl, which is beautiful, or a clay bowl. That's a very traditional sort of Nubian thing. Also, if you look around here, so colourful. So many amazing colours, blue, bright yellow, red. This is a big part, an intrinsic part of Nubian culture. They're very colourful. The patterns are quite strong, they're quite distinct, they look really good. They've got paintings of all sorts of people around the area. It's opulent, it's really nice to look at. And yeah, that difference in culture from, I guess, northern Egypt is seen through the way they talk. They have their own language. Some of the food stuff that they eat, but also in their music and their general culture. So this is really a different part of Egypt, which has so many different things to offer, and we're going to explore all of those together. But look, first, let's try the rice with a little bit of vermicelli. We're going to go for the bamia first, which is a very typical dish around Egypt. It's basically ladies' fingers or okra in a tomato sauce. I've had this in a lot of places, including Edgware Road back in London. Oh, that is delicious. The rice, nice, plump, sticky. The bamia is very good. Clearly made with love, clearly made at home. It's a very traditional home-cooked style bamia. A lot of the times in all the various restaurants I go to, it doesn't taste like it's been made at home. Now, the next dish we're going to try is beef. This is Nubian beef. Again, we've seen him make it with a lot of love in the kitchen. This is a distinctly Nubian dish, by the way, because not really would you find beef cooked by itself without an accompaniment of some sort of vegetables. So that in and of itself is different, but what makes this extra different is the fact that the tomato sauce that accompanies the beef is mixed with chili powder and also a little bit of za'atar. We know what za'atar is. It's a concoction of different spices, very popular across the Middle East. They shove that za'atar in, they shove that spice in and that tomato sauce and mix the beef in it. And you get almost like this masala style consistency. It's not too runny, it's quite dry, but it looks very interesting. So look, let's tuck in. That is very good. The beef, nice and soft. Quite a dry texture to it, because again the sauce isn't completely runny, but it adds this wonderful spicy tomatoey flavour to it. To make things better, I'm about to wash it down with some modum. Again, the drink of the Nubians, they love this thing. We mentioned this before, we tried it earlier. It's good for hypertension, regulating blood pressure, and it's derived from an age-old herbal plant which is believed to have been enjoyed all the way back to the time of the pharaohs. This, I must say, it's an incredible way of washing down all of these flavors. A lovely sweet caramel taste to this.
To round off our meal, we'd next be trying some phenomenal Nubian coffee. The fragrance and natural sweetness to this drink are not an accident, but rather emerge from a patient process of blending and brewing. The elegant taste of the Nubian coffee begins by roasting a special, uniquely dark green coffee bean produced in the region. Hot coals are used to darken the beans before they are grounded. Added to the mix of coffee powder are numerous other grounded spices including ginger, cardamom and cloves. This special mix is then brewed with water on hot coals in a special Nubian device called jabana.
And the colour is very, very different. It's almost got like a green colour when it's being poured. Let's try this. So it's meant to taste quite sweet compared to a normal coffee. Tell you what, it's not wrong. It does have the tanginess still, but it is quite a bit sweeter than normal coffee.
Ooh, that is delicious. And the flavors, all the spices that we talk about that were grinded and put in, including the ginger, really come through. You can taste it, you get a little bit of kick at the back of the throat. A similar coffee that I've had actually to this is Somali coffee, which I've tried. There's a lot of ginger in it, and that ginger comes through here too. This mix of flavors, this mix of spices does cut through the bitterness. It's still a little bit bitter, but nowhere near as bitter as the sort of normal black coffee that you have.
In spite of the strong coffee, we were able to secure a well-deserved night's sleep. We awoke to the magnificent views of the country's sacred lifeblood, reminding me of the old Egyptian proverb, once you drink from the Nile, you are destined to return. Under the radiant Aswani sun, we began the day with some breakfast.
The day begins with this Egyptian breakfast with a Nubian twang on things. And we're going to start actually by trying something called the gibna, which is basically whisked cheese, white cheese. And here, included in this particular gibna, is some cucumber and tomato as well. The cheese is effectively whisked and whisked and whisked until it gets this lovely, almost fluffy and light texture. And integrated into that is a bit of tomato and a bit of cucumber. So it's almost like a raita, but it'll be thicker, I imagine. Unbelievable. Cheese is very, very creamy, very soft, not too salty, quite light. The tomatoes and the vegetable, absolutely refreshing under this hot sun, very delicious. And then I'm also going to try eggs. Now these eggs, again, are cooked a little bit differently with a slight Nubian twist. They've got samna in them, which is the butter fat that I told you about, the animal fat, which adds a lovely kind of fatty, creamy texture to everything. We enjoyed it in that amazing fall we had the other day back in Luxor. So they add that samna to the eggs, a little bit of pepper and a little bit of cumin, and that's basically it. So let's have a go with this. Oh, that is delicious. It's a very simple way of cooking an egg, but that samna takes it up to another level. It is very, very good. The next thing I'm going to have is the sharia bil laban. This I'm quite excited for because I've actually never tried it. It's going to be my first time trying this here in Aswan. And what it is, sharia means vermicelli. So there's bits of vermicelli in what looks like milk that's partially condensed. Effectively, it looks like a soup or a stew with a creamy texture. I mean, it's actually quite similar to something we have in Bangladesh. It's very popular in Bangladesh, something called shemai, which is basically vermicelli cooked in really, really sweet, creamy condensed milk, and it's enjoyed actually on like special occasions, like Eid, for example. So this is the closest way to that I'm going to be trying vermicelli in Egypt. Usually, they get the vermicelli, they integrate it with rice, and they sort of eat it with whether it's koshari or molokhia or any other curry. But here is actually in a sweet form, so this should be exciting. So look, you can see the bits of vermicelli there. That's very good. Actually, that's really not too dissimilar to the shemai that I spoke about, but it's a little bit less creamy. The milk here is pretty much runny milk. It's very sweet. It's got a lovely sweetness to it, but it's not thick, it's not condensed. It is kind of just sweet milk. And those vermicelli bits are lovely. Got that lovely carby kind of pastry taste to it. And with the sweetness, honestly, it's a different variation to what we're having here. Obviously, everything there is savoury, a little bit of sweetness. You gotta love having a mix of sweet and savoury on breakfast dishes or during breakfast meals. Now, this is very, very good. A taste of Aswanian Nubian breakfast here, whilst on the River Nile. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, the food is tasting great. I'm a very happy man.
As we admired the old souks of Aswan, we made perhaps our most interesting discovery. We were hit with the pungent smell of Egyptian fermented fish, Fiseekh. This dish is understood to have been enjoyed by the pharaohs. The fish used to create this delicacy is native to the region and is called Meluhit Aswan, or as it's more colloquially known, Kalb al-Bahr. In English, this means dog of the sea. From a quick glance at this fish's aggressive-looking teeth, it's not difficult to understand how it got this name.
Mohammed, Habibi, Shukran. Mohammed here sorted us out. We're in Aswan market. We've just been walking down and there's awful stench hit me. I said, Mahmoud, to my friend, what is that smell? He told me this is Fiseekh, a traditional Egyptian dish. You won't find it across the Middle East, apparently enjoyed by the pharaohs millennia ago, and it comes out during a very special festival. Egyptian Easter, Sham El Nessim. Sham El Nessim is when this is enjoyed. Yes, Sham El Nessim time. Now what we're gonna have, a bit of baladi bread. I'm tell you what, I'm gonna get a little bit because I don't want to end up in hospital. This is a fermented fish. It's a white fish that's basically sun-dried, fermented, and then has a lot of salt added to it. They keep it in a sort of oil, a brine to keep it preserved, and they've squeezed a little bit of lemon on it for us. The smell is undescribably bad. Fermented fish. Again, we have something called shutki, which I'm sure I've spoken to you guys in the past in Bangladesh. A very popular dish. This is basically the Egyptian shutki. Here goes. Bismillah. Look how relieved he is. He's so relieved. Well, it's good. Smell aside, it actually tastes really good. It's very, very salty. I imagine that's to try and overcome that smell. The fermented fish taste is there. The same taste that I get from, like I said, shutki and some of the fermented fish I've tried across the Far East. The brine gives it a sense of oiliness. It's not dry. Even though it's a dry fish, it doesn't taste dry. It tastes quite well lubricated. The lemon juice is tangy and it comes through. The ladi bread does a great job of soaking it all up. Taste is very good. Very salty, very fishy. I'm going to take you to the back and show you the original Fiseekh, away from all the brine. Our boy's going to show us. This is what it originally looks like. Look, that right there is the Fiseekh in its original form. The smell, the stench is absolutely pungent. You can see it looks absolutely awful, but the smell is so strong. Mahmoud is about to pass out.
What a way to round off our 4th episode of Quizine in Egypt and the first in Aswan. Join us next time where we continue to explore this beautiful city. We'll be devouring an epic seafood meal in style, getting a taste of Aswani dessert and trying another famous Egyptian food in the form of pigeon. See you then.